everybody. Welcome. It is Sunday night, and I'm sick, but I'm still ready to talk about video games because I am a trooper. We are troopers. Welcome to Cocktail Time, everybody, here at 4Player Network. How's everybody doing this weekend? Pretty good?
Pretty good, yeah.
Pretty good? With me tonight. What's up? What? Oh. So with me tonight, everybody's, of course, Bob Webb, all lit up with the holiday spirit.
The major fire hazard, Bob Webb.
He's a major fire hazard. He won't be with us much longer, as you can see.
No.
As you remember from a few shows ago, we had to clone Bob after he was raped to death by a Sasquatch, and as you can see, the clone itself isn't as perfect. It's got some issues, but we're working with it. You have to follow the story arc when you watch Cocktail Times. Not everyone knows that you are actually a clone of the original Bob.
Right, I even can't remember the story arc for Cocktail Time.
Yeah, we should all write it out sometime. And with me also is George Denison, all the way from United Kingdom. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well.
So I'm sick tonight. I've been sick all weekend. It sucked. So you guys are going to have to take up the slack. You in particular, Bob.
What, am I drinking for two now?
You're drinking for two of us, right? Just like
I have the lights on.
You're drinking.
Does that count?
You're drinking for two, just like the queen of the trailer park, the pregnant queen of the trailer park. Drinking for two. Yes, I'm actually going to be drinking coffee and water tonight, which is not really in the spirit of Cocktail Time, but.
We should just be downing a cold medicine.
Should I just
grab a bottle of?
Should I just be downing NyQuil the whole show, like a whole bottle of NyQuil from the beginning to the end of the show?
Yeah, just 2 shots, and then you'll be hallucinating by the end.
Well, that's fine. That makes for a better show overall, doesn't it? And I'll feel fantastic tomorrow. I'm sure the sickness will just seep out of me. You're not sick when you're dead. So let's do the shots of the week, the toast of the week.
Oh shit! I completely forgot I had to do that.
I know you forgot, Bob.
I have a shot, but I forgot I had to toast it to something.
You forgot because you've never done this before. This is your first.
Yeah, well, this is the clone.
Oh, that's right, the clone.
Yeah.
He's having. You need to make your headphones all fucked up and your hair crazy.
Is it like in that film Moon, where there's thousands of clones of Bob, and then every 3 months you just replace him with a new one, or the other one starts deteriorating?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly. He's going through whatever that Cortana went through. Every mission over there. Retro rhinoplasty. What did she go through?
Yeah.
She had.
Why not?
She had rhinoplasty. She had a hysterectomy. That's what Cortana had, a hysterectomy. Right. So why don't you go first, George, for your toast of the week?
I'm going to toast to Grasshopper Manufacturer, mainly because I finally finished Sine Mora this week, but also because they've just generally they have a history of releasing some very interesting and left-wing sort of games. Not politically left-wing, but
Interesting is a way to put it. I wouldn't call them profitable.
Yeah, well, Shadows of the Damned notwithstanding.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate because I love that studio. It's just, how did we're getting off topic? We can talk about it later. But how did Lollipop Chainsaw end up doing?
Your numbers?
Yeah, I don't think very well.
I don't think it was very well either. It's always kind of hard to get really accurate sales numbers.
The problem is Lollipop Chainsaw was kind of shit, so that's part of the reason. So, my toast. Oh, what are you drinking, Bob? George.
Just pre-canned gin and tonic. It's not
pre-canned. Wait, what? Yeah. Pre-canned gin and tonic. See, we don't have that here. We don't have that here in America.
You're not missing out. It doesn't taste that nice.
So is it? I think we actually have something that's similar to that. It's called the Club. They have these kind of pre-canned martinis and daiquiris and shit like that. They're these tiny little single drink.
It's something like that. They're not particularly popular here in America.
No, not very good.
Yeah, but there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, because they taste like shit.
It doesn't taste that nice, but I didn't want to buy a whole bottle of gin just for this show, so I thought I would.
That makes sense.
So you buy a whole bottle of gin because you just want to drink it.
Well, yeah.
That's what I
See, actually, no, now that I think about it, that'd be nice. If I could buy just, like, cocktails in the can, like, I wouldn't, there wouldn't be a fear of me just keep on drinking until...
just consuming the bottle afterwards.
Consuming the bottle afterwards. Like, I could say, well, here's my 2 cocktails, and that's it. You know what I mean? Because
that's a good way to regulate yourself.
Yeah, if I have a whole bottle, I tend to be like, I'll just have one more. That goes on till the morning.
And no more bottle.
And then it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, usually it gets really rough when you run out of mixer. And then you just start drinking it straight.
Yeah, but you usually run out of mixer at the right time, whereas you don't need the mixer anymore.
Yeah, it's
basically, my toast of the week is actually going out to Ubisoft for Far Cry 3 because I'm exceptionally excited for it. It's been painful since Monday or Sunday of last week because I thought it came out last week. So I've been, it's like one of those when you think it's Friday and it's really Wednesday. It's like kind of that kind of thing. And then there's this stagnated like release date where the UK and Europe got it like on the 30th, but we have to wait till the 4th, and it's just horrible. So I've been like watching. I've been sick this weekend, so I've been like watching Far Cry 3 feeds and stuff like that, to get my fill. But it's almost like I almost feel like the wait for when Skyrim came out. At least with Skyrim, it was an international release. Now this staggered release thing is kind of annoying. But
don't expect me to be talking about Far Cry 3, by the way, because I haven't picked it up.
Well, no, I think what we should do this entire show is talk about Hitman Absolution.
Yeah. We have not talked enough about that game.
We have not talked about Hitman Absolution, so this is going to be the Hitman Absolution-a-thon. All Absolution, all the time.
Oh, yes.
Hitman.
It's going to be a hit.
Yeah, man. It's going to be
absolute hit.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolute hit, man.
See how long we can drag that joke out for.
Hey, man. Absolutely.
I'm going to hit you.
Okay, so that's my toast. Well, and you, Mr. Bob, what's your toast of the week?
I guess my toast will go to Hotline Miami. I actually picked that up this past week during the autumn sale for Steam. They had a bunch of games, and it sort of allowed me to go pick up a bunch of really cheap games that I might be able to finish by the end of the year. So Hotline Miami was one of those, and I've played like maybe a hour of it, and it's a neat game. It's really unique. It's very very twitchy, and like it's a very skilled pattern kind of game where you have like strategy based around like the different weapons you have, different masks you have, like whatever abilities you're doing, and the positioning of enemies and timing it all correctly. I can see it becoming a lot more like a it's like one of those I want to say like a little bit like Dust Force or N Plus, or kind of those games, but with guns.
Here's how I describe it. Hotline Miami is a mixture between Super Meat Boy and Smash TV and Smash TV. Yeah. I mean, it's like that.
That quick, turn around and just kind of iterating through the levels and trying different things and getting the fastest time possible and the highest score. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of just the levels I played. It's really interesting, and it's also an incredibly fucked up story. So that's really keeping me in and interested in figuring like what the hell's going on. Right.
Oh, so I got somebody, Liz6005, a subscriber over at 4pp.tv is asking, and we only answer the questions of subscribers here at Cocktail Time. She's asked me personally, should I drink vodka, bourbon, gin, or beer during CTT tonight? I need your expert advice. I always say vodka, depending on mixer, but definitely vodka's my base.
Or you can go with all the above.
I don't want Liz to die. I don't know her personally. Maybe if I did, I would. But definitely vodka. I'd say go for that. But yeah, no, Hotline Miami is really great. I played a bunch of it, not enough. It's like one of those games I'd like to finish by the end of the year. Well, we'll see how that happens.
I heard it's not too long, so I think you can finish it in like 3 to 4 hours.
It's not too long, and they've released, I think, a second or another level that you can use or you can play based upon a club in Austin, Texas, because I think that's where they're based.
Devolver, whatever, digital. Well, that's a public.
Devolver Digital or something like that. Yeah. But that's a really good.
Denison games. Is that right? I don't know.
Fuck. I downloaded Civilization 5.
Oh god, that's a mistake.
Because it was on sale, and I did that. I did that on Friday, and like 4.5 hours were just disappeared.
That's what Civ 5 does. It's a black hole that takes your life.
You know what it is, though? I'll tell you what. That's true, but I find, and I basically played. I haven't even finished one whole like playthrough yet, and I started on easy, the settler difficulty, because I'm trying to figure it out. But I don't know, like sometimes I feel like things are happening in that game that I want more control of. Like I want to get even more nitty gritty into stuff. And right. I suppose I can do that because like they have the mayor function, and the mayor function allows the cities to sort of self-regulate which areas around they will work. So some areas have more food, some have more processing stuff, some have like different elements or rare stuff like metals and things like that. And the mayors do a pretty good job of it. But I remember like my favorite Sid Meier game is Alpha Centauri, and in that game you can get like really into the nitty gritty of your individual cities, like really down and dirty. And I feel like Civ 5 isn't really that nitty gritty. It takes more of an overarching approach to Civilization games than previous entries that I think I've played, where you're sort of like you're doing more of these generalizations. I have these cities and I make these trade routes. But I can't figure out, like, how do I trade certain things? Like, you know, if my people get unhappy, what are my options? And it seems like as long as they're fed well, and as long as they have enough culture and stuff, that, like, usually have no issues. And I think maybe part of it is the fact that I was playing on such an easy difficulty that a lot of that stuff I didn't have to even worry about. But I almost wanted a little more micromanagement. You know? I don't know. How do you have you played a lot of Civ 5, Bob?
No, I've actually never really played more than like a couple minutes of a Civ game.
Okay.
I know exactly what they're like. I played a lot of RTSs, but Civs are more like a sim, I guess. Kinda. Yeah. I don't know. They're a little bit RTS. They're much more, for me, like, again, like I like a lot of the micromanagement stuff, and their Civs games tend to be more of a bigger picture, and it's because you have higher. A much higher, larger scale, as opposed to just being like, oh, this is a countryside and several nearby towns, and we're going to have these different scenarios. It's no, we got the entire world, and you're going to be having your countries, moving into these different countries, and all that bullshit. That just kind of, I never really got into it. It's probably for a good reason. Because I'm sure if I tried it, I would lose hours and hours of my life.
I used to play like Alpha Centauri for like 10 hours, no problem. Just sit down. And like my whole day is gone. It's like I forgot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's probably because I used to play like Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 1 for like 12-hour chunks.
Yeah.
And those are like scenario maps that can be ended relatively quickly. But I loved building up my bases and building up turrets and kind of really securing my base and just building a ridiculous offensive force, and then just going out and completely and utterly wiping off the AI off the map.
Right. I played a little bit of Warcraft 3, but I never played much of the other ones.
2 was great. Actually, out of all of them, 2 is the best, in my opinion.
I wish I could go back and try those. I was never huge on RTSs, but that was just me. George, you've been playing a ton of stuff. You said you were playing Sine Mora.
Actually, let's do our toast real quick.
Oh, shit, I forgot about it. Like I said,
the other thing I'm drinking, actually, I didn't even say what I'm drinking at all, did I?
You didn't, you blew right over it.
Yeah. So, for my regular drink, I'm just having some absinthe, because I figured it smells good, and I can just sip on it all.
I like how you're like, just for my regular drink, I'm just, I just got some absinthe, that's all.
It's good.
Like, that's it. I just, some absinthe and some heroin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that was a little bit before the show, before I rolled around Christmas lights.
Start nodding off in your Christmas lights. Bob actually nodded off into his Christmas tree, and then they had to get him up.
Yeah.
And he ended up being covered in lights. He's the Iggy Pop of cocktail.
Woke up, just jumped straight up, and I was covered in lights and ran into the other room. So for my shot, I'm actually doing a shot of the rum I was talking about last week. I found it.
Ah, the one that your friends are making.
Yeah. It's good.
What's it called?
It's called Shellback.
Shellback. Very nice.
It's very good. It's the you can see the labels. It looks a lot like a dollar bill. It's got this really nice, finely illustrated. There's even
that's Poseidon, isn't it?
It's Poseidon. Yeah.
I have you know about my relationship with Poseidon.
Oh yeah, I know. Did he ever give you a call back after the?
He never did, but he should get me some rum apparently.
When you hold the thing up to the front of the camera, all the lights are just kind of refracting off. It looks like you're coming out of some sort of hallucinogenic fever dream or something.
Oh man!
See what piece through it. All right. So yeah, that's what I'm shooting today because it's really nice, very smooth.
Very cool.
Figure out treat myself.
Let's do our shots, shall we? 1, 2, 3.
I'm drinking it very carefully so I don't cover myself with alcohol while having hot Christmas lights on myself.
That's probably the best. Yeah, you don't want to do that. What I'm going to get actually for our because we'll have to do like a Christmas show or something. Yeah. But they have these Evan Williams bourbon and eggnog bottles, which are really good. One of my favorite things.
There's a new bottle of eggnog I was seeing around the store, and it's a see-through bottle of eggnog. It's a glass bottle, and it's on like the liquor shelf. I can't remember what it's some kind of farm,
right?
But it's really disturbing because it's basically this clear bottle of this really off-white fluid. It's supposed to be eggnog, but it looks gross as hell because I'm always used to seeing eggnog on in a fridge, like refrigeration.
Right.
And having eggnog that's room temperature on a shelf just freaks me the fuck out.
It's totally fine though. It's totally fine.
It's probably completely fine.
Well, the alcohol saves it from breaking down.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of Irish cream? There's definitely in there. So
same thing.
It's Ugh.
So you don't do the eggnog with the bourbon? You don't do that?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
That's actually what I've been drinking for like the past week.
Oh.
I made a big ass batch of eggnog. I think last time I talked about making eggnog with duck eggs.
Yes.
And I ended up making eggnog with 12 duck eggs. Wow. So I have a jug. It's a big jug that has a little spout on the bottom, and it's just full of eggnog that I've been trying to drink for the last week or two. And it's basically just like 12 eggs, duck eggs, about a cup or 2 cups of sugar in there. What else we got there? A bunch of spices, and then I think a quart of whipping cream.
Wow, that's pretty much.
I've been using it to put in my coffee. Actually,
I was going to say,
really
on your way to work while you're driving to work, just drink some of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's tasty.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. Everyone needs to know. So during hour 2 tonight, we're having a special guest, Dave Oshry, who's the PR marketing guy of Rise of the Triad, is going to be joining us for a little while. Hour 2. I actually did an interview with him during PAX 2012. That actually went up not too long ago. And I did a little preview about the game on the website. But he's going to be joining us if he shows up. He should show up. Let's see. He's not on yet. But hour 2, 9 o'clock, he'll be joining us. We'll talk about Rise of the Triad. We'll talk about his Vegas name. And I think he needs to do some work for Kotaku as well. So we'll...
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
He was their weekend guy for a small amount of time.
Huh.
So it's kind of fun. So George, Sine Mora, that's what you played.
I like how I'm being referred to as resident British guy. Sounds like some really shit version of Resident Evil.
Resident British guy.
Taking place in Devon or something.
Throw the crumpets at him!
Oh, the teeth! The zombies with the really, it's like, you can't tell if it's a zombie or if they're not, just because the horrible teeth. They could just be, they could have scurvy.
That's not true. No, that's the one thing that's not true about British people. Our teeth are fine.
Yeah, I think it's
mine are.
I don't know if I was hearing another British person talking about the dental hygiene and whatnot, but modern generations are completely fine. Like a lot of people have had dentures growing up, and not dentures. What the fuck am I talking about? The braces, the opposite of dentures.
Oh, I need child dentures.
12 years old to get your dentures.
Well, Jimmy, you've reached the ripe old age of 13. Time to get you some dentures, then. All right, Father.
Well, they can drink when they're 8, so I think that's what they get in a lot of pub fights, so they don't have
so they all knock
fights
out.
well. That's their first set of dentures.
Right.
I'm just horribly misrepresenting Britain at this point.
We are. Everything I know about Britain, I've learned from Monty Python and the IT crowd, so you have to excuse me.
Yeah. Oh,
that's two pretty good reference points.
And Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is pretty much 3 points of reference.
At least it's not EastEnders or some crap like that.
I've never seen the EastEnders. I've heard of the EastEnders, though.
Don't ever watch it. It's the worst.
What is that? Is that like your version of Jersey Shore?
No, it's just like this long-running soap opera that is just bad.
So it's like Dallas or something.
Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Or General Hospital. One of those ones.
Yeah, it's just bad. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just.
Our soap operas are terrible.
Do we still have
for 50 years?
Do we still have soap operas? Are they still on during the day?
Yeah, Days of Our Lives,
Really?
General Hospital, like the same ones that have been on for the last 30 to 40, 50 years are still going.
That's amazing to me because I don't like have cable, and I'm not the type to sit around and watch TV during the day. So I have no point. I didn't know these things were still around.
It's not even on cable. I think it's on general TV channels, like the non-cable channels.
Wow,
but
that amazes me. That people you think with the advent of more dramatic television like Law and Order and like Game of Thrones and Dexter and things like that.
You're naming cable shows though.
Yeah, but
what if people don't have cable?
But you think they would be yearning for something of a higher caliber than Days of Our Lives. You know, we should be beyond that now. Much the same way we should be beyond messages that say return to the battlefield in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in Halo 4. We should be beyond that now. You know, there's no reason for that to exist.
Problem with TV now is that everything is reality TV.
Oh, God.
Yeah, things like Made in Chelsea and
Never even heard of it.
I think that's kind of. I haven't seen any Jersey Shore, but I think it's kind of similar in its premise.
Probably.
It's kind of semi-reality TV. What is Jersey Shore? Is that kind of a reality TV thing?
They take a bunch of cameras into a mental hospital, basically, and they record the patients.
Called New Jersey. Well, Jersey Shore. First of all, we should say that Jersey Shore has been canceled, so there is no more Jersey Shore, and also the Jersey Shore has been wiped out. So either way,
that's true. It's no more. A hurricane destroyed it. So
it was going to be funny. I said, they canceled the Jersey Shore just when it was going to get really interesting.
It would have been a survival horror at that point.
That would have been great. I would have watched that one. That would have been fantastic. Like Snooki battling the hurricane, her blowing her newborn baby away, and the situation has to go. He's go find it.
All of their clubs and their hangouts are completely gone. Their supply of liquid Tanner is completely out, and they're starting to freak out.
The situation charges the hurricane to fight it bare-fisted, white-knuckled, mano a mano. They really miss an opportunity.
Yeah,
they really could have done something wonderful with that episode. So, oh well. But yeah, it's just Jersey Shore was basically they found some of the most annoying, horrible people they could possibly find, and then followed them around with cameras. But it's called a reality show, but it's pretty much known and understood that a lot of the situations they put them in, not to, are sort of set up. You know what I mean? And they're just completely fabricated, but and give them situations to act crazy and stupid.
Well, it's all like the talk shows that people do during the day, Jerry Springer, a bunch of that stuff. Like a lot of that, people go on and they're like, "I've been sleeping with my wife's daughter," or something like that. Right. And it's a lot of that stuff is all. I gotta admit, way too over the top, and
I gotta admit, I do like looking online at the "He Is Not the Father" videos on YouTube. They are really. I've never seen such dancing.
So happy. It's just like it's bliss.
And it's like the girl falls over crying into what's the guy's name? His arms, the the
Jerry Springer?
Maury Povich or Jerry. No, it's Maury Povich or somebody. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Maury.
Yeah, and in Maury's arms, and like all. Then the rest of the place becomes a dance club.
Yeah. It's funny. Like they used to be pretty. The audience used to be pretty subdued, where they just be like, "Oh, boo!"
Yeah, no, not
like,
anymore.
they just make noises. But now they're fucking insane. They go crazy.
It's a fucking spectacle, is what it is, and it's wonderful. There's something about it.
It's America.
It is America. It is America. So, Sine Mora. Let's work this in.
Jesus Christ, I forgot about what we were doing.
Sine Mora is nothing like Jerry Springer. I don't think I can make a scene there.
Probably not. Although there are furries.
Is there furries in Jerry Springer?
There's got to be an episode.
I'm sure there's... I'm going to find it right now. The internet will provide.
Yeah, just put Jerry Springer furries.
My father was a furry.
My father was a furry. Something like There's got to be. Because they try to be topical, you know? I mean, they did a Dr. Steve Brule with furries. So there's got to be something. So what'd you think of it? Did you like it?
Yeah, it's really good. So it's got a bullet hell shooter, similar to things like Ikaruga and R-Type, perhaps. It's been a long time since I've played R-Type, so I don't know if it's a good comparison to make. But no, it's a horizontal shooter.
Yes, there were furries at Jerry Springer's. I have the clip.
Oh, what episode was it?
I don't know. It's just his part one. Jesus Christ. All right, whatever.
Well, at least we know now.
Everything's been on Jerry Springer, so we know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, so people wondering why we're talking about furries is because Sine Mora has sort of an anthropomorphic storyline going on through it, which is completely incomprehensible because it's all told through like text screens and little snippets of dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's all in Hungarian, so I have no idea what was going on. But it gave it a bit of personality, which is nice.
That's cool.
And the nice thing as well is that a lot of those hell shooters are all about the intensity. And Sine Mora is intense, but it's actually kind of... I don't want to use sedate. I'm not sure what... It's quite peaceful in a way. Like, it has a fantastic art style. And all the way all the backgrounds are... they're just kind of there. So it looks really nice. And it's... very, very hard. You only have to notch it up by one difficulty level for it to suddenly become completely impossible.
If I remember correctly, as I think the Grasshopper did all the art style and enemy style and stuff like that, and then the gameplay was done
by digital reality.
Digital reality.
Yeah,
I liked it quite a bit. I reviewed it for the site. I'd have to go back and read my review to give specifics.
That's right, you reviewed it.
But it's really good. I like the boss fights a lot. How the boss fights had different sections, and they were like kind of these giant. Like Titan-esque sort of boss fights, and the story was really good, and it had some really cool stuff going for it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I don't play a lot of those bullet hell type of games, so I should play more. Maybe I should. I don't know. I couldn't get through Ikaruga.
Yeah,
that's a game you really need to spend time with. I can get through Ikaruga, but only on the easiest difficulty, which I think is normal. I don't think Ikaruga has an easy difficulty. Maybe it does. I don't know. I know Sine Mora doesn't have an easy difficulty. It's like F-Zero GX. It's like they're just being upfront with you. It's like, this game's not going to be easy. Right. It's like it's more of a hobby. It's like, what do you do for a hobby? It's like, I play Ikaruga. That's my hobby.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. So, have you been playing anything else besides Sine Mora?
Yes, I've been playing a bit of Dust and Elysian Tale. Elysian Tale. I'm really enjoying that as well. Actually, I mean, I know you guys have said a lot about that already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But,
I haven't said anything. I haven't even played it.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's good. It's kind of a Metroidvania adventure style game with. Again, anthropomorphic animals.
You're really into it. There's something you're in this anthropomorphic animal kick for quite a while.
It was pure coincidence that I just picked up these two XBLA titles that have talking animals in them. But the story and the voice acting and the writing is actually pretty good. It has a lot of. It's very self-aware, which I like. it kind of knows it's a game, which allows for a lot of kind of funny little in jokes, which I find it's good. And yeah, I've also been playing. I was playing a lot of Borderlands 2 earlier this week, but I gave up because I just found it kind of dull.
Yeah, so we can talk about this for a minute.
Borderlands 2?
Yeah, that joke's been made 1,000 times.
Oh, you're kidding? I thought I was completely original.
Sorry.
Bob, you are a snowflake. There is no one like you.
I'm glorious.
You're a glorious snowflake. I actually had the same problem. Like I'm finding it difficult to kind of go back to Borderlands 2. Like I don't know.
I haven't picked it up yet. I've been tempted to, but like I played. I got it on the 360 and I played it, and I played through the first maybe hour or two of it, and I was like, it's more of the same.
I posed this question to chat a couple of weeks ago, and I said, how many of you guys actually finished Borderlands 2? I kind of feel like, a Borderlands game comes out, and for the first like 2-3 weeks, everyone's like, yeah, Borderlands, Gearbox, you gods. And then everyone just kind of stops talking about it because, I haven't
really heard much since
people
then.
just kind of stopped playing it after a little while, and I was just interested to see what was the actual percentage of people that actually finished that game, and because Borderlands 2 is certainly better than Borderlands 1, but just much like Borderlands 1, I reached sort of my breaking point where I'm just like, I'm just sort of shooting dudes and getting more and more loot, and there's so much. Getting loot right is not easy, and it seems in Borderlands there's so much loot that it just becomes this sort of gray wash of nothingness. It's sort of like it's all the same after a while. And then of course Borderlands has a really horrible habit. The worst thing it does, and probably what really gets to me and why I end up feeling this way, and I'm sure I said this before, was that you'll finish a whole giant section of the game, and then you'll finish your main quest in that area. You'll go back to town, and you'll immediately get a side quest, and that side quest takes place in the exact same location you just came back from. So you end up going back to the location twice, and it's not like the enemies respawn in any different way. The enemies respawn in the exact same way, from the exact same areas every single time. Even if you go from the front to the back and then go back again, they just respawn again, and it's just it becomes exceptionally tedious to me. And it almost seems like they need to, it's fine to give me a side quest back to go to a certain area, but don't give it to me right away. Give it to me an hour down the line. Make it like, hey, remember that place you went to a couple hours ago? Well, there's something else going on there, and you have to go back. And when you go back, there's some sort of change or whatnot. But there's this tedious level of it that I think just kind of wore me out after a while.
Yeah, I got to about level 15, I think, and then. Because I played I played a bit of I think I got about to the same point in the first Borderlands, and I don't know, I got the impression that maybe this one was going to be different, but it felt very similar to the first game, in that it just kind of feels like one kind of samey grind once you get past the initial few levels.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much difference in enemy types. A lot of those.
There's not a lot of variety in the abilities you can use either. I mean, really, they only give you one or two even special abilities.
Pretty much, and everything else is passive. Yeah, so you get basically one. Everything else is passive, depending on your playstyle for the most part.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really pulled me through Borderlands 1 was the co-op. And playing it co-op really, I think, is the best way to play it.
Oh, 100%.
Playing it alone, there's no way I would have beaten Borderlands 1.
Yeah, I think
there's
that's
no way I would play Borderlands 2 alone.
Yeah, I think that's also a problem. I think one of the issues that I played a lot of Borderlands 2 alone.
Yeah.
And I think if I played with more people, it would have been better. And I could probably still do that if I got people together. But there's also, I'm not in the business of I can't spend too much time on one game.
Right.
So I always have to play the next day it's coming out to review, write stories about it or something like that. So it's I still have to finish Hitman, which is going to be a huge fucking chore for me. So I do not want to go back to that game. I still have to finish Assassin's Creed 3, and that's, I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed 3 fan in the world, and there's just so much extraneous shit in that game.
Oh yeah, you can just ignore all of the extraneous bullshit in Assassin's Creed 3. Yeah. It's barely necessary. Just go straight for the main story. And that's if you want to finish it, I don't think it's that great.
So here's my question: when I go back if I just go to the main story, if I finish the main story, can I go back and do that other stuff, or is it locked out forever?
Yeah, no, you can go back and do it.
Okay, then maybe I'll just do that. Because I did hear there was some good stuff. I was listening to the main guys on the main 4-player podcast, which we're recording on Tuesdays now. So everybody's listening at home, make sure you watch that on Tuesday. They were talking about how there was some good stuff. Like, I think, God, what was it? Peel's... it was the crazy dude. I have to find his trinkets, and there was, like, the trinkets build up to, like, the sort of the murder mystery thing that happens on this island. That's, like, actually really cool. So there is some good stuff, and the ship combat is really neat. But I needed to just get through the fucking story and then go back and do that stuff. You know? And then Far Cry 3 comes out in a day, and that's the one game I've been like aching to play, and I have a feeling like that's going to be a game where I'm going to want to spend a lot of time in it, you know, and looking and finding every little thing, you know, like I'm almost, like I said, I'm feeling like approaching it like a Skyrim sort of thing, you know. What was that noise? What's going on over there?
It was the police.
The police. It was hard police.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, you know. So you kind of felt the same way I felt about Borderlands 2, George. Then.
Yeah, I disliked it pretty much for the same reason I disliked Dead Island, in that it just felt too kind of grindy and monotonous. And I did play it in co-op, but it wasn't with people I knew. It was just kind of online.
Yeah.
And it didn't improve the experience for me in the way I hoped it would.
Really? See,
it just made it way more laggy, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, and I finished Dead Island. I mean, I finished because I was reviewing it, but I mean, even that felt... I didn't feel as though it was as much of a chore as, you know... I don't know why. Why would that be? A lot of dismembering zombies is always fun for... like, that doesn't get too old.
More cathartic.
It's more cathartic, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but... I don't know. See, I'm thinking about Borderlands 2 now and going back, and I'm like, I don't want to fight any more of those creatures. I've been fighting the same shit over and over again. I think if it pushed you through the world a little bit better, like you were able to actually clear areas and they remained clear for like a good amount of time, that would help out a lot, so that they would make traveling a lot better. Because as it is, like every time you go, I mean, I guess you can go on the cars and just like run over shit, but you know, you can't go anywhere in that world without stopping and fighting something. You know, anywhere. And if you were able to clear areas for a longer period of time and you were just able to travel faster, and not using like fast travel, I mean actually just get in your car and just go without having to stop and fight shit all the time, maybe that would help too. I don't know.
I think having a little bit more open up, because I think the problem I had with Borderlands 1 is it was like section, exit, section, exit, section. Like it was all very...
It's kind of open world in name only. Those loading screens really kind of take away some of that feeling. Yeah. You know.
I think another reason,
open.
Another reason why I don't like it that much is because just in terms of its tone, it's trying way too hard to be funny. Like all the time, it's
that's
like
the same vibe I got from the first one. I hate Claptrap.
Are you saying that you don't enjoy the writing styles of Mr. Anthony Birch? Is that what you're saying?
I suppose so, but it's... No, it's just the kind of like, you know, here's a joke, here's a meme, here's, you know, the enemies as well. I think the actual, because so much of the game is fighting the enemies, and the enemies all have this kind of very in-your-face style to them, where they're all just shouting at you constantly, and it's just kind of that's another reason why I think it kind of ground me down a bit.
Right.
Because there's only so many times you can have like psychos and stuff running at you going, and
it is happening. It is happening quite a bit in that game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe if we all got together and played Borderlands 2 together, that would be better. We could find our way through
it's definitely... I had a great time playing co-op, but outside that, as I said, I probably wouldn't play it. I wouldn't beat it. It's fun co-op, but it's very the same.
I was fucked from the beginning, because I got the game, and... our motherfuckers in our community were so obsessed with that game for like the first couple of weeks that I would get on and I'm like, oh, there's everybody on. Well, I'm just gonna play by myself for a little bit and just fuck around and get used to the game and explore the world by myself and get my bearings and stuff. And by the next day, like everyone's like, I'm level 30, and I'm like, fuck, dude, what the fuck? And then they're level 40, and it's like I can't play with anybody because everybody on my fucking friends list, all the assholes in our community, like decided to blow through the game and play 40 hours in a row. So and then I was like stuck playing with pugs and like, what the fuck? Don't want to do that shit. I basically blame our community for me not liking Borderlands 2.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's really the community's fault. Probably Zakano's fault.
Yeah, no, I think we should lay the blame entirely on Zakano.
We should, yeah. I'm gonna write a review of the game and then give it a low score, and then in the notes say Zakano, and give his email and phone number, is personally responsible for this low score, and then make sure it gets up on Metacritic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk about the other two games that I've played this week. I played I've literally just started XCOM Enemy Unknown. I know everyone else loves it. I'm finding it kind of dull. I don't know whether it's because I'm not that into strategy games, but I mean, I played the shit out of Advance Wars, and that's probably about it. So maybe I'm just not into strategy games. I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, I'm going to keep on playing it. Maybe it'll hook me later on. And I also tried to play NHL 13, which was a terrible idea because I'm fucking terrible at it.
I don't think I've ever. I think honestly, the last hockey game I probably played was probably for the NES. You know, like Blades of Steel. What was Blades of Steel? Was that Super Nintendo?
I don't know.
I think it was Blades
I
of
have
Steel.
no idea.
I think that was the last one I played. And you could. I remember you were doing the hockey thing, and then if you got into a fight, it turned into like side by side punching battle, like a Street Fighter look, you know, not with all those moves and stuff, but it like had that whole contingent to it.
I don't think it's changed much.
So modern hockey is like that. Is there like a QTE fighting system? Does it become like a fighting game when you get into battles on the?
No, not really. I think it has its own system, but I don't. I think I've scored like one goal, and I've played it for about 5 hours. So I'm really terrible at it.
Yeah, very good.
I've never played an ice hockey game before, and I don't follow the sport in real life. And this is the thing. This is the theory I have: is that I can't get into sports games with a few notable exceptions. And I think it's because of things like football and basketball and ice hockey and all that. I'm just not invested in the sport in real life, and the games kind of assume that you're already invested in the sport, right? Because they'll show you all the teams you can play as and all the players you can play as and how realistic they all look, and it's like, well, I don't care very much, and then I'm not that.
And they don't explain the mechanics at all either. From a lot of the sports games I've played, they don't explain the rules of the game.
Oh yeah,
they don't explain, if you don't understand like the rules of hockey, how the fuck are you supposed to even get into the game?
Yeah, they explain the controls, but nothing about the finer points of detail.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't understand the offside rule in NHL. I mean, occasionally it threatens to send one of my players off. I don't know why it does it. So maybe if I did a bit more research, but I'm not interested in the sport. So I guess it's just not for me.
I think the rules are very similar to
blame me for trying.
So it's I haven't played a sport game since NES.
Yeah, kind of with me.
It's being generous.
What do you mean by sports game? Sports are lots of things.
That's true. Right. I did play Wii Sports.
So that's a sports game, technically.
Yeah. I played golf.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Super Saiyan. That's kind of a sport. It should be.
A what?
A Super Saiyan.
That's right, for the
Dragon Ball
Z experience that you had.
Yeah.
I used to like to go to hockey games in Jersey. I used to go see the
it's
Devils.
Mostly there for the fights.
Yeah, well, it's the fights. Yeah, I used to go see Devils games. I used to go see Flyers games. For a little while, I was dating some girl near Philly, so I would go to Flyers games with her every once in a while. And yeah, I mean, basically, like, if there's a goal, everyone's like, yeah, all right, goal, whatever. But if there's a fight, everyone's like out of their seats, like, kill them.
It's like a Jerry Springer show.
It's like the Jerry Springer show. You know what they should do? They should mix the two together. And have like how the hockey players find out if they're their father or not during the game.
instead of a puck, they're using a baby to pass it off to one of the other person. It's not my responsibility.
Yeah, you could have Maury Povich on like one of those Zambonis in like when they're driving around the ring, and he's just fucking calling out paternity tests during the game for all the players.
This is a new sport we need to make.
I like it. I like it a lot. This is good. We can work with this. We can work with this. We'll be rich. Totally rich. What made you even play a hockey game, George?
Well, I just have a list of games that have been released in the year, and I thought, well, because last year I played Fight Night Champion just out of curiosity.
Oh, you know what? The Fight Night games are not too bad. Like the one that came out. God, I played the one. Was it 4? It was 4, but like the system they had at first was when to punch it was all analog sticks to punch. And it was really weird. And then they actually patched in button punching later. But that game was kind of fun, like beating dudes up, and like they had all like the facial deconstruction graphic stuff going on. So like if you punch some dude in the eye, like his eye swells up and stuff. It's kind of cool.
But I hadn't played any like boxing or wrestling games before that, but I played Fight Night Champion. It actually really sucked me in because it had quite a good story. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as gripping and on a narrative level. And then they do a really good job of working in like the mechanics of the game into the story. So it was actually one of my favourite games of last year. So I was hoping, because I'm always like trying things I haven't tried before, hoping that maybe they'll grab me like that. And I like sports games that kind of aren't too grounded in realism as well, because I love the old Tony Hawk's games. And I also love the SSX reboot from this year, which is currently on my top 10 list. But because those games they're less about kind of being like, sticking adherently to any rule set, and more just about having fun on a board. Right. And just scoring points. So I was prepared to get into NHL, but it's one of those games like FIFA and NK2, whatever the other ones are, NCYA, I don't know, that I kind of assume that you're already into the sport that they're working off.
It's funny, like FIFA is like, from what I hear, huge. But in America, you wouldn't even know it, because we have like soccer in America, but it's getting bigger in America, but it's still not like mainstream. But I'm sure like all of those sales is all Europe driven. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's sold out. It was one of those launch titles where people were queuing up in the street at midnight. Wow. But I'm not into it at all. Yeah,
it's a little bit like our Madden launch, kind of.
You'd have to understand though, Bob. Like. Soccer is so giant in Europe, it's not even funny. Like,
it's called football.
Football.
Yeah, it's football.
Football.
Soccer's a different thing.
What is so? What is soccer then?
Soccer is your football. I don't know.
So you call football soccer? We saw soccer football.
No, we call football. You call football soccer, and then your football is our rugby. I think
we call soccer
American football.
We call football soccer.
Oh, whatever. I don't care.
Who's on first?
No, we should keep going with this. We can do this for another 20 minutes before Dave gets here.
Don't get us on the chips versus crisps conversation.
What?
Oh no, not that again.
Wait, do you get that? No. Do you get that at soccer games?
No.
Oh, football games. Now then George, you say no football games, and I say, I didn't know you guys had football. And I thought you had soccer. See, we can just keep this going. Yeah, it's comedy.
It's wonderful.
Oh man, but no, FIFA's like huge. Like Madden is nothing compared to I think what it goes on in the game.
And I kind of realized my my analogy for the whole Madden versus FIFA is way off. There's a lot more people into FIFA in Europe than Madden. Yeah. Well, obviously they're not into Madden in Europe, but in the United States, really.
I wonder if Madden's even that big anymore, because I think all the Madden people now play Call of Duty.
Like the thing is, like that's one of those games they have an annual release. The only thing that really changes is the rosters, and that's something you can actually do with like the same game I have the same game for about 2-3 years, and then just sell DLC to get the new rosters.
Well, the only reason, the only reason Madden was an annual release is because DLC wasn't that big. Like, right. Now you can do through DLC. There's no reason for it to be an annual release anymore.
No. No, and it's a lot of times. I mean, what was that? Was it a FIFA for the Wii U or Wii? That was basically the same game, just updated rosters
For the Wii U?
same assets and everything. It came out like a couple weeks ago, right?
I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to the Wii U releases recently.
Well, it wasn't a Wii U. It was a Wii because it actually came out before the Wii U launched. So it was a Wii game. It was the Wii version of the FIFA, and it was basically the same game. Just they updated the rosters and they changed the jerseys a little bit. Like that's it.
Interesting.
Like same mechanics, same assets.
To my understanding, all the FIFA games are all pretty much the same, but with different teams, different players. Yeah. They update the graphics. Occasionally, they'll tweak the AI, and then people seem to be fine with that. It sells as well as it does every single year. So,
FIFA still has some of the best AI glitches I've ever seen, though.
Oh
it's the physics stuff. Yeah,
it's absolutely hilarious sometimes where the players just kind of freak out and like fall down and start like seizing.
There's one from an old game where the guy's trying to like stop a kick going into the goal, stop the ball going to the goal, and his leg just contorts completely out of place just to try and get it to connect with the ball. It's so funny. It's like
they should just make the game that, and I would play it all the time.
Right.
You know,
have that be a part of the game because it's a mechanic. Because you need to make sure that your players don't pull their leg or like their.
It should be like Never Dead, but with football, you can just rip your own limbs off.
You should never begin a sentence. It should be like Never Dead.
No, okay,
like that's the wrong way to begin any sentence.
How do you feel about Never Dead, Bob?
Fuck that! Like it's one of those games. Like it had a good idea behind it, but it failed miserably.
It was terrible.
So many puns. I walked into a boss fight and the boss didn't spawn. No. I was alone in the room.
So that means he forfeited, right? So you won.
Exactly. No. I just had to sit there until I had to fucking reset the game because the boss wasn't there.
The thing that I felt was strange about Never Dead was the art style, and I only saw it. I never saw it in person. I only saw it on your feed, Bob. But the whole thing looked like weird.
I guess it
looked like weird claymation to me. It was really weird.
It was a weird combination between very kind of almost anime, kind of like cartoony, with a mixture of realistic. It was kind of a weird combination of the two, where it just did not look right in either direction.
Yeah,
should have gone more with one or more the other. Like they tried to do like a little too real, it was a little too cartoony, and it just came off looking like
shit, Bob. You trying to say shit?
No.
Well, actually, on the front cover, it's got this weird like shade of yellow that looks like vomit. So,
yeah, that's very prevalent in the game.
Yeah, everything's in this weird like vomit shade of yellow and green.
I think that was just the vomit you saw, Bob. It was projectile vomiting out of your mouth and onto the television.
I could have it might have been just me trying to wipe off the TV from
your vomit.
Copious amounts of vomit and
yeah.
I think my problem with Never Dead was that it was really hard to win and really hard to lose. Like you were in this constant state of limbo where you would get a few hits in, and then like your head or your arms would fall off or something, or one of your legs would fall off, and then you'd have to spend like laboriously going around trying to. And the only way to die is if you're reduced down to a head, and one very specific monster sucks you in, which is really easy to avoid. But if you do get it, there's then another quick time event that you can do to get out of it, and it's only if you fail the quick time event that you die.
But the quick time event is one button press, and if you get it wrong, if you don't press it at the right time, you lose. Like you die. Like it's very unforgiving. Like as soon as you get into the mouths of the I think call them babies or some other shit. Like really disturbing thing. As soon as you get into their mouths and you get into this quick time event, it's just like it's almost instant failure if you just press the wrong button.
Right.
It's really harsh. It's really stupid. It's weird because it's like it's really hard to get to that point, but as soon as you get there, it's incredibly harsh.
Yeah.
Did this game come out this year?
Yes.
So this is going to be on your top 10?
Top 10 shit list.
It's on my bottom 10.
I should, instead of a top 10, I really should make a bottom 10. I realized this year I didn't play any good games. Many good games.
You know what, Bob? If anyone at the site was worthy of making such a list, it is you, Mr. Connect, Mr. Never Dead.
Amy was this year.
Amy was this year.
Amy was this year.
Another one?
I tried to block that out of my mind.
Yeah.
That might be near the top of the bottom 10.
I'm actually surprised you still like video games at all, depending on what your years look like. Like, and you have all these great games. Like, you're like, I have Dragon's Dogma, but I haven't opened it. I might as well play some more Dragon Ball Z Connect.
Yeah, exactly. This week I'm getting Power Rangers for... No, I don't know.
Were you? You were going to, were you?
No, they haven't sent me shit.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, actually, they always send you shit. It's just that you haven't gotten this week's delivery.
I haven't got this week's allotment of bullshit.
Allotment of shit. Oh man! All right, so let's take a quick break. On the other half of the break, Dave Oshry is going to be joining us, talking about some Rise of the Triad and a whole bunch of other stuff. But stick around. Cocktail Time Live over at 4Player Network. Hey, what's up, man? Hold on a second.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Sweet music going on.
We're on break.
Yes. How's it going?
Go back. You ready, Bob?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Cocktail Time, the 4Player Network. And with us in hour two, we have Mr. Dave Oshry. How you doing, man?
Hey, that's me. What's up, man?
Good.
How you again?
I know, it's been a long time. Hold on, where's your picture? I have a picture of you up here somewhere. There you are. I'll show everybody. We have your picture up of the you with the chainsword, because it's probably the best one. Probably
Yeah, it's the one that goes around.
the best one that I have. So how you been since PAX all that long time ago?
Busy, man. That was a cool interview, by the way. Thanks for putting that up.
No problem.
Busy. You know, we're making the game. I'm running around. We're planning on being at more events, and it's crazy. You know, making a video game, doing all the things that come with making a video game.
I hear it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's not a lot of work.
No, it's easy. Easy.
Yeah, it's you gotta like do stuff and send people stuff, and then, like fans want stuff, and the developers want stuff, and the publishers want stuff, and everybody wants stuff.
It's just a lot of stuff making.
You gotta make all that stuff, and then they're like, "Where's this stuff?" I'm like, "Well, that stuff's not ready. We'll have that stuff for you soon. But how about this stuff in the meantime?" They're like, "No, we've seen that stuff already." I'm like, "Oh,
we want new stuff."
Yeah, new stuff. New stuff's coming.
So you're remaking Rise of the Triad, right?
Yeah, man.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know, it's a reboot of the '95 classic that came in the wake of. It was originally supposed to be the sequel to Wolf 3D. A lot of people don't know that, but the enthusiasts know. Then Apogee, Apogee was publishing its games back then. They published, Commander Keen and stuff like that, and Wolf 3D. And then they were going to make Wolf 3D 2. It was called Wolfenstein 3D Part 2: Rise of the Triad.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like, well, we want to make this game called Doom. And then Apogee was like, well, we're making this other game. And then they were like, well, fuck you. And then they split. And Apogee ended up making Rise of the Triad a standalone game. It went to make Doom and Doom 2. And the rest is history.
Nice.
So Rise got, was kind of remanded to this cult classic status, which, it got totally overwhelmed by Doom 2. That's no secret.
Right.
I mean, Doom 2 was a juggernaut of a game. But Rot was, a fun classic in its own right, and we're bringing pretty much the whole thing back. Not like a one-to-one, but, like a re-envisioning, just keeping everything about the original. Not one-for-one remakes of the original levels, but like reimagining the original levels, just as crazy as they were. We've still got colored keys and doors and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. All the original weapons. We're not adding anything yet. A lot of the fans have been asking, like, are we going to add things to the game, like new weapons? No, not yet. Mm-hmm. We're trying to get that core, reboot experience going, and then do all kinds of crazy DLC and stuff after that. But yeah, it's just a complete reboot, reimagining of the original classic, and so far people are digging it, so we're happy about that.
That's cool. That was actually one of my questions. Was I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a complete one-to-one, or if you guys are just taking the original vision and running with it.
Yeah, well, like originally when I got on board, I was like, we should just do ROD HD. People love HD remakes. There hasn't been one. We've got the IP. Let's just like up-res it. And release it for like $6.99 on GOG, like do a just straight one-to-one remake. But Frederick had like this way bigger vision, and he was just like, "Let's do a complete reboot of the whole thing." And
that's a good invitation.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, reboot." He was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Yeah," and so yeah. And so it turned into like this. It became it was originally what was ROD HD became just it's such a complete reboot that we ended up calling it just Rise of the Triad. We messed around with lots of subtitles and stuff, sequels, prequels, but eventually we're like, Rise of the Triad, just bring it back a literally like a complete reboot, calling it like, man.
So when you guys are going out drinking and stuff, do you all eventually just start talking in like German accents? Just
we just drink like all the time, Maria, the cookies.
So with the Rise of the Triad remake, are you going to keep in like one of the things that stood out to me when I was playing Rise of the Triad back in the day when it came out was on certain holidays you would have the characters wearing
are all there.
Hats. Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah, we're keeping them all there. It's a really easy thing to do. You just put a hat on the loading screen and shit like that.
Right,
all the little Easter eggs are there. The songs are there. Because the fans are. Cause the thing about a game like this is, I've said it a bunch of times, is like the fans are. When you've got a game that's such like a real culty, with a cult following, they know everything.
Yeah.
Fans, they know more than you. They know everything, and they will just like my inbox and like my Facebook like every day. It's like, are you keeping this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? You better be doing this and not doing this. And so we have to listen to all that, because if we don't, they'll call us out on it like immediately.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys, we thought you guys were legit and, authentic and knew what was up, but you didn't, the hallway didn't curve left in level, episode 3, level 2, like it did in the original game, and you fucking said it would. I'm not giving you my money ever again. So it's, you got to deal with stuff like that. But all the little, the holiday Easter eggs are definitely back, because stuff like that's easy to do and it's just fun,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it adds replay value, in a weird way. You know how Calendar Man works in Arkham City?
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like people just log in to just like see the fun stuff. on the holidays. Like, oh, well, if you log in on Christmas, you get Christmas hats. Same thing with. Not saying we're Arkham City, but it's the same kind of deal. Fun stuff on the holidays.
What you're saying is that you're Team Fortress 2. What you're saying?
Yes, we are absolutely hats.
That's all.
So hats are
we're actually yeah. Oh god. We're actually I'm messing around with the idea of since we're working with Valve and stuff, definitely getting some TF2 stuff.
That'd be kind of cool. Are you guys working with Valve? I wasn't aware of that.
Well, yeah, for we were approved for Steam back before we revealed, which was like the happiest day of my life. As the marketing dude, I was like, okay, so we're on Steam, right? Like we're good. Like don't have to. Okay, Steam, good. Okay, Steam. And ever since then, it's just been like a back and forth about what we're gonna do in terms of launching the page and pre-order bonuses and stuff like that. We're just trying to have lots of really fun shit going on for the people who just use Steam every day.
Right. That's cool.
So there's going to be Steamworks integration with the friend list and whatnot?
Yeah, it's and that's one of the things that's pushing the game back, because they've been really cool. Like now we went from a UDK game to a full Unreal Engine 3 game to a full Unreal Engine 3 game being built on the Steamworks SDK. So it's like a whole bunch of other stuff you have to do in the back end that makes no sense to me, but our coders say it's really hard. And so it's full Steamworks integration with the friends list, and it's going to be a Steam Workshop game, so you're going to be able to mod it and share all your mods in the Steam Workshop like you do. It's a ship. Oh, you can build a ship.
You can build a ship, yeah, if you want.
Yes, absolutely.
More stuff. It's more stuff.
Yeah. And just like TF2 or Skyrim or Portal and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that, and the team's really excited about that. But it's a lot of work. You could anybody can make. Not anybody, but you could always make a PC game and put it on Steam. But doing a Steamworks game is like, I didn't know this until our lead coder yelled at me about this. He's like, Dave, it's a whole nother bag of tricks. You don't even. But okay, whatever. I'll get you your screenshots, y'all. We're all excited about that. That Valve's been really cool to work with, and we're hoping to do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Cool. How'd you get involved with this? Because I remember you were when we first met. You were working at Rip10. You were managing editor at Rip10. And then you were kind of doing some stuff here at Kotaku, like on weekend. You were like the weekend Kotaku guy. Yeah,
Kotaku and VG247 and some stuff like that. I was always writing about games was like a part-time gig for me. I'm in real estate, and that was like a thing I got into like 3 years ago, just as like a hobby, and it completely took over my life. Just being it was like a thing I wanted to do, be creative, because real estate is boring. It is boring. It is not fun. And I'm just like, I've been a huge, video game nerd my entire life. My house is just like filled with toys and like old consoles and shit. And I've been a PC gamer my whole life. And when I was writing, I was following, I wrote a whole personal blog about this recently. I was following along with Duke Nukem Reloaded, which was the project that Interceptor, it was Gearbox had, I don't know if you remember, Frederick, the head of Interceptor, had started work. He had some screenshots came out of a Duke Nukem 3D remake on Unreal Engine 3, a fan remake, and everybody was like, "Holy shit, this looks really good!" And I was one of the first people to cover it. I wrote about it on Rip10 and stuff, and I sent it around to people on like Detoid, and I was like, "You got to look at this. This looks amazing."
Right.
And it got so big that Gearbox ended up giving Frederick and what would become Interceptor, they were a mod team then, the green light with the IP. They gave them, they were, let's say, okay, you can do a fan remake of Duke Reloaded. It eventually got so big that it became a dispute, between Gearbox and Interceptor. It was like a whole thing back in 2011, and they put the project on hold. But Fred had, they had like 80% of the game done. There was a company there. He had formed, nobody expected this, this guy, this modder to like form a whole company around them to, remake an old game. Like they didn't know there were these kind of modders out there who had this kind of serious talent, were willing to, form a company. And Fred was serious. He had a business head. He had good advisors around him. So he's like, I'm going to make a whole company around this. Yeah. And Danish. He's Danish. I can only do German.
Right.
So that's about as good as it gets for me.
Same thing anyway, right?
Yeah, he's probably going to hear this and be like extremely insulted, but that's about it for me. But, give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Just this is going to be way too long for me to edit, so just...
It's good enough for me, man. So I was following along with that, and then... I was wrapping up at the end of 2011, and I hadn't heard from the project for a while. I knew that it was pretty much scrapped or put on hold because of the dispute with Gearbox. And one day I hit Fred up on Facebook, and I was like, what are you guys up to? I was still looking for, opportunities to do things. I was trying to, kind of get out of, games writing because it is, totally taken over my life. Blogging had become like a second career.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm like editing Kotaku and like, on the weekends, I'm like, this is crazy. I never intended for any of that. Mm-hmm. But I was like in the video game space now. So I'm like, holy shit, I've like got the opportunity to do stuff in games, which is kind of what I always wanted to do and just didn't know it. Yeah. And I hit up Fred and I was like, what are you doing? What's Interceptor up to? He's like, well, we got, I'm not going to do the accent anymore. Well, how else would you know I'm doing Frederick if I don't do the other?
I'll get confused if you don't do the accents.
Well, we got in touch with this legendary publisher, and they offered us the opportunity to work on the IPs. And Apogee actually just tweeted at me. I'm like, yeah, I could be into that. What are you doing? I'm looking for investment opportunities. I'd love to help you guys out. Because I was one of the first people to actually throw some money at Duke Reloaded back when they were just looking for help on, with PayPal, just to kind of like get any funding because they were making the game for free.
Right.
So he's like, if you want to know more, I'll send you an NDA. So he sends me an NDA, and the Apogee logo's on top of it, like the fucking Apogee logo, like the old school 1995. Model. I'm like, that company doesn't even exist anymore. What are you talking about? And I'm like, what's going on here? And so he gets me on a Skype call with him and Terry Nagy, who had formed a new Apogee. Mm-hmm. He spun it back off from, Apogee turned into 3D Realms when they made Duke 3D. And now they're still 3D Realms, but Terry spun off the Apogee name and logo back in, I guess, 2009 to a new LLC with the old IPs. And I was like, I didn't even know you can do that. Yeah. So it's a bunch of old Apogee guys who kind of reformed Apogee, and they heard that Duke had been put on hold, and they reached out to Fred, and they're like, we know you guys are clearly into making old games. We've got some old IPs that could use some reboots.
Yeah. They just have this bank of stuff you guys can work off of, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's some. It's like every day, like we're back and forth. Like we do this there, that IP's over here, this IP is over there. George and Scott still have this. I mean, there's back. It was like the Wild West back in Texas in like the 90s. Yeah. With all these games, that Apogee and 3D Realms made, but like they were kings back then. That was Doom and Duke and Quake, and that was that was what it was all about in the 90s with PC gaming. So I got involved and we're talking about what we can work on. I'm like, are you guys doing anything with Rise of the Triad? Because Rot was, for me, that was it. It was one of my, top 10 favorite games of all time. I mean, I love Doom and Quake and stuff, but Rot always just stood out to me, just like this crazy game that I always had this like weird affinity for, because I was just absolutely, I love the weapons and the humor. It was just, I thought the level design was better than a lot of the other games that were out then. Mm-hmm. Better than, Quake. Quake was a bit crazy, but Rot it was just not in dog mode and shrooms mode. There was nothing else like it. And he was like, well, not really. I was like, well, how about, do Rot? And Fred was like, yeah. Terry was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. So, and 6 months later, we had a game.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's kind of crazy the way the whole thing came together. I've been asked about it a few times. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. And we're on Facebook and Skype just like we are now. And next thing you know, we're making a video game. Yeah. And it's been really fun, but it is a lot of work, like you said. It's you hear stories about how much you think it's just nothing but work, but it's fun though because you're still making video games at the end of the day.
Yeah. Someone in our chat room is wondering where their new Commander Keen is. I was wondering if you're the
Oh, God, that IP.
Yeah. The bunch of it that I played, it's fantastic. I mean, you don't find it's this sort of amalgamation of like Doom and like Quake Arena type of feel to it. It has that verticality of like Quake Arena and the jump pads and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's they don't make games like that anymore. I mean, they do, but they're all there's plenty of free to play shooter like Shoot Mania stuff like that. There's plenty of old school twitchy. Not plenty of, but they're out there. Mm-hmm. But they're all multiplayer only, where there's no more single player games like that. You've got games like Serious Sam and Painkiller, but those are different. Those are more like go from room to room and like 500 guys run at you. Mm-hmm. The games like Rot and Duke 3D and Quake and Doom were all about these big levels with multiple ways to go around and lots of back and forth. You run into a door, you need the silver key to get through this door. Well, okay, well, fuck, where's the silver key? Right. Then you run around, you find the silver key. In the meantime, there's enemies. You'll hit a switch, the lights go off, some enemies pop out, like, monster closets and stuff like that. But that kind of gameplay is actually still pretty fun. I don't know, I'm not sure when exactly that became passé or wrong. For instance, I mean, so many people talk about Doom 3, they did it wrong. They turned it into a survival horror linear game instead of a game that was more like the fast and crazy like the original Doom and Doom 2. And so this reboot is pretty much like it's got level design like Doom 1, 2, and Quake. With lots of up, down, back and forth. It's a bit more streamlined because a lot of the levels in the original are kind of mazy, like literally like making you dizzy. Like, okay, I've killed everybody on the level and I'm still walking around looking for the door. It's back then they didn't have like critical pathing and heat maps and stuff like that.
Right. Later Wolfenstein 3D levels are really bad like that. You get lost like totally.
It's just like, okay, I'm just looking at walls and like hitting the walls, going like what? Like
hit your space bar.
Or like Duke, like where is it? Where is it? But we're definitely a bit more. We're more linear than that.
Yeah.
But it's still very vertical and open and big and back and forth. Like I play these levels every day. We play test them, and it's just like okay, and you need the Oscuro key to proceed, and then you go get the silver key, and the silver key opens this door, but then you got to go back, and there's traps, then you're up, and then there's like 3 secrets in there, and you're back, and then you find the other key, and then you're back through that door, and then there's a whole other thing. So it's very much that old school level design, and I think that's one of the coolest things about it because nobody's really done that with a single player game in a while.
Yeah. So somebody in our websites, our chat was wondering if the music tracks will be returned to the remake. Returned in the remake. What are they saying? We have horrible chatters. I'd like to know.
Where is this at? 4-Player Network?
I'd like to know which music tracks will be returned in the remake and when they'll be available. So I guess he wants to know if they're going to be downloadable. But there's they're like remade like metal tracks now, aren't they?
Yeah, this is live. Oh my god, are we live?
We are live. Yeah, we're actually live.
Thanks for telling me.
No pressure.
Well, you might have heard, we released Fastway, going down the Fastway, the metal remake.
Uh-huh.
We're doing at least like 20 tracks. Like we've got like 14 or 15 completed right now.
Uh-huh.
I think let me look at the original. I'm going to pop open the folder right now. The original Rot had, and the best part about working with these old guys is like I've got like everything. Like you want anything with like Commander Keen, Blake Stone, like Wolf, Duke, like I've got the archives.
Oh wow, nice.
Okay, so there were 34 tracks on the original Rot soundtrack. We're doing probably 20 plus.
Mm-hmm.
All the iconic ones. We're gonna do Andrews. They're redone. You can't make them all metal. A lot of them sound a lot more like the original. It's hard to explain. Like Havana Smooth is not metal. It's definitely harder, but it's still smooth jazz. It's just smooth jazz with like it's not MIDI anymore. It's real guitar, real bass, real drums. Andrew can play all these songs live with his band, which I think is personally awesome as a metal dude myself.
Yeah.
And it's going to be released as a separate album. You're going to be able to buy it on Steam as well. You know how, say like The Binding of Isaac, where it's like buy the game with the soundtrack, buy the soundtrack alone.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get the soundtrack on Steam, on iTunes. But yeah, for the most part, it's hard hitting metal, and I wish we can release it all on SoundCloud and Bandcamp like right now, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of making an album.
You want to build up the tension,
Yeah, well, a little bit too. Plus, we want Andrew to be able to make some money off it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want we're not making any money off his album. We want it to be his album, his thing. So if we release it all right now, we're definitely going to release a few more key tracks, and you could hear a lot of them. If you listen to our QuakeCon panel, Havana Smooth is in one of our level building videos. We're releasing our new Dev Diary. Should be next week. It'll have a different track in the background. So you can definitely hear it. As far as releasing like full tracks, we're probably going to definitely release some more before the whole thing's out. But probably like 20 plus in all remade. All the classic tracks are there. Smoke and Mirrors, Going Down the Fast Way, Suck This, Havana Smooth. Adagio for strings and organ, just all the classic Rot tracks. But yeah, definitely the music is, and plus you can play. I don't know if you heard. This was actually my idea, and I'm super proud of this. I was like, what if we had the option? Just go with me here, guys.
Yeah.
To play the new game, but with all the old sounds.
I think that'd be fun. Like have that retro feel to it.
Yeah, and they were like, what? I was like, just have an option in the options menu, then you click it, and instead of all the new sounds we've made, literally, because we have all the old sound files, like we have them, they're ours. All the old gun sounds, all the old missile sounds, all the old music, just you hit a button, and you're playing the new game with the new visuals, but the old sounds.
That'd be cool.
And they were like, that might work. So that's in.
Nice, nice.
That's the thing that exists. We're calling it classic mode or retro mode or whatever it is. But you'll be able to play with all the old music and sounds if you really want. It's really cool running around in the new game with the new visuals, listening to the old music and hearing old gun sounds. It's like it's weird, but it's like it actually works and it's really fucking cool. And I think eventually we're gonna do a trailer where we like actually show gameplay of retro mode.
That's nice.
Yeah, the music and the sound is like a huge part of it for me, but for everybody. I mean, because the Bobby Prince and Lee Jackson, all the soundtracks for Duke and Shadow Warrior and Rise of the Triad, they're like, it's just awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And Andrew's like just so pumped to be able to just remake those and working with Lee and stuff like that. We're
gonna get a Shadow Warrior remake.
That IP is one of the ones that's it's yeah.
I don't know how much of a market there would be for that anyway.
I think people when this came out, we were surprised with the response. How it was like, holy shit, all the old Rot fans are coming out of the woodwork. And then Jace Hall, like a few weeks later, he was like, okay, and he's like, well, you guys want blood? And people were like, fuck. And I think he's going to release like an open source of that or something. That IP's all these old Texas IPs are really caught up and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely I know more than I'm allowed to say.
Yeah, no,
especially on a live podcast. But we're not the last of the retro reboots. Just let me say that
a blood reboot would be fantastic. I'd been playing a whole bunch of blood on the feed.
I don't know about I know about as much as the blood reboot as anybody else, but I think it's just going to be I don't know anything about a reboot, but I think Jace is definitely working on trying to get like an HD open source out there, something like that. So at least there's a really awesome. I know you can get the game. You can get the game on GOG right now.
Yeah, that's where I got it.
He's definitely working on something, but that's one of those IPs that's kind of tied up between 2 or 3 people. It's not as bad as System Shock 2, which is owned by a law firm, but
the fact that System Shock 2 is all tied up is a damn shame. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even get the original game. That game is. I mean, that's probably the worst of the worst. So some of the stuff that you've asked about is like only 2 levels above that, so it's not it's not that bad.
It's not a never say never sort of thing.
It's not a never say never. System Shock 2 is like never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
System Shock 3 is never gonna happen, or System Shock 2 released on anything.
Oh, we got. BioShock is technically System Shock 3, kinda in a way.
Yeah,
just the
spiritual successor and all that.
Yeah. So we were talking before you came on, and since you're becoming like this, the big video game guy now in interviews, we think you need a new name.
I need
a new name. Yeah, and we came up with work with me here. Have an open mind, because I'm thinking flashy. I'm thinking Vegas. I'm thinking showmanship.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
Right? How about this? How about Davy Ocean?
What?
Davy Ocean.
Davy
Ocean. Yeah.
Davy Ocean. I like that.
You like that? It's like you need like a rhinestone cape when you say that.
Have to George Clooney doesn't wear a cape.
Yeah, just try it. Try it on every once in a while. Just gotta look yourself in the mirror and say, "Hey, Davy Ocean," and just see how it feels.
Yeah, I'd have to rob a casino one of these days.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be we're gonna be in CES. I'm gonna be there in some capacity. I don't know where Rot's gonna be, but we're gonna try to have it somewhere. Like as a marketing dude who used to go to all these shows, like I want Rot to be at like every show. Where one of those games where you just walk up, you're like, holy shit, Rise of the Triad is playable at this booth and this booth and that booth and this booth. Just why not have multiplayer everywhere?
Yeah, no, big. You doing PAX East this year?
Yeah, PAX East. Well, I can't talk about things. I'm gonna be. We're gonna be at all the shows.
Okay.
We'll be at all the things.
We will definitely be at PAX East.
Yeah, because I missed PAX East. I think the last 2 years in a row.
I've never been to PAX East. This will be my first PAX East.
PAX East is super fun, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. Like, PAX Prime it was almost the fact that we were able to exhibit at PAX Prime at all this year was like a last minute thing. Because after QuakeCon, the response was so crazy. They were like, "Hey, you got to come to PAX." We were like, "We didn't plan on that."
Right.
So I'm running around. I asked my buddy at Gunners, I'm like, "Hey, do you booth at PAX?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You got any games? Like, you got some computers and shit?" He was like, "Yeah, I think 3 or 4." I was like, "Can I put my game on it?" Like, he was like, "Yeah, sure." Will you wear Gunners while you're at the booth? I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll wear Gunners."
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like that's how we got into PAX, and we threw a party there and stuff. But that's kind of how it is with this stuff. Like, it's we're kind of we're an indie dev kind of masquerading,
right?
with running around with one of the big boys.
Mhm.
But it's fun, man. It's fun being on the other side of the fence. Like I definitely miss doing what you guys do. Doing podcasts and writing about games, and being able to cover all the events and interviewing devs and stuff like that. But it's cool being on the other side.
Well, you're actually making money. Is the difference probably?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you kids are out there listening, there is no money in game journalism.
There's not.
And there's none. There is in tech writing though. If you fucking know like a thing or two about a motherboard, you can make like $30 a post writing about stuff.
Right. Man.
Video games, no,
unfortunately not.
I don't care how long or beautiful your review of Far Cry 3 is. Nobody's gonna pay.
No, they're not going to. Not for a very long time. So any like I know you can't say, you probably don't know release date or anything like that, but what's you thinking 2013 sometime?
Yeah, definitely Q1. I mean, we promised Q1. I remember I talked to you at PAX and I was like, it's Q1, and we're gonna hit Q1. Barely. I mean, the thing is, and I'll say this openly, when you're a smaller game and a PC only game, you gotta try. But like the hardest thing is getting out of the way of the big boys. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to get the fuck out of the way of BioShock and Grand Theft Auto and SimCity. Mm-hmm. Because, as core as our audience is, if we release anywhere around BioShock Infinite, we're dead. Yeah. Nobody's going to pay any attention. People already spent their money on BioShock and stuff like that. Same thing with SimCity, PC only game. Stuff like Gears of War and God of War. We don't worry about as much, console only. Right. But we gotta find you gotta find a nice spot. People people don't move out of the way for you. You got to move out of the way for them. Yeah. But it's it's a battle. But we think we've carved out a nice little date for you guys.
Nice. And you guys have you guys are going to hit the big market, but you also have a particular niche market as well. That's gonna come for you guys no matter what.
Yeah, well, I mean, being PC only, old school shooter. I mean, there's definitely a market, I think, for what we're doing, and we don't have to. The cool thing about we're making this game for like nothing. We got a lot of guys who are part time. Guys like me. We don't take a salary or anything. We're just kind of doing this because we're doing it. We're bringing Rot back, so we don't need it to be huge to be successful. Yeah. So, and I think just by being on Steam and other digital DRM free distributors that we're not announcing yet, it'll do well enough and it'll be out there enough that we should be pretty happy with the response. But you still can't release on the same day as BioShock Infinite.
You can't do that. no matter what you're selling. Yeah. So, cool, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. We're looking forward to getting it finished and getting it out there. I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Got it, man.
And
thank you.
I'll definitely I'll see you in Boston. All right, man.
I'll see you soon, bro.
All right, later.
All right, take care.
Bye. Cool, Dave Oshry, everybody. Rise of the Triad. So.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of pumped for that. I'm just remembering like all the crazy ass things you could do in that game, and it's just like, man, I've forgotten like how much I missed that era of gaming.
Well, it's really so cool. I mean, I miss like those airborne rocket battles. Like you hit in the jump pad and just I mean you kind of get a little bit of that in Tribes, but it's not really the same because in Tribes it's kind of all you're doing. You know what I mean? You're kind of always doing that up and down.
Still, like in Tribes, you have loadouts. In these games, you find where the rocket launcher spawns. And if you get around this corner,
you need to get to it first.
Launcher, you can turn the tide of the battle.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff that's really cool. And I play this game. You guys can, watching at home, you can check out my interview with Dave over on YouTube or on the main website, 4playernetwork.com, and you can see some of the cool stuff that they have. And they have this cool, like a flame wall launcher where you shoot and it shoots out this little pod that hits the ground, and then it puts like this 6-foot wall of flame that kind of goes across the entire area, which is like really neat. So, Rise of the Triad. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, what are we doing next?
Well, someone mentioned that you played a game you hadn't talked about. Perhaps it was in another life.
Oh, man.
Maybe a second life?
Yeah. So I'm going to be working on a piece.
Is that what you're doing? That's the excuse for diving into that cesspool of the internet?
That was
the corner of the internet, the dark place?
It wasn't my initial excuse. It wasn't. I initially was like, I kind of see all this stuff, like the Second Life. Like, let me try this shit out. So I made an account a Second Life account, and I went in, and it's kind of bizarre. You know what Second Life is? Second Life, it reminds me of like it's you know what it is? It's a libertarian universe, like a libertarian paradise where you can do anything. You can just go in and there's brothels and strippers and like, but it's like it's so weird. It's so weird because it looks so shitty, and it's.
Well, it's all player-created assets. Like Second Life, a lot of the stuff they have in that game is created by other people who are hobby stream modelers.
Yeah. Basically everything is. And you can make everything. It's like take like the mind of a psychotic person and put it into a 3D tangible world, and that's kind of what Second Life is. And it's like they have like these like sex clubs, quote unquote, where they're like these stagnant like mannequin type women models. And they have a little portion you can click on, and if you click on it, you start having sex with this, like, inanimate model thing in a game. And I'm like, so are guys, like, doing that and then, like, jerking off? Because it's like, ooh, my avatar is having sex with this robotic, mannequin-esque sort of thing. And it's... And you go, and there's, like... They have, like, these clubs where you go in... And the entire wall is covered in photographs, and the photographs are all these girls. And if you click on one, it opens up a browser to her webcam page, like those real life sex webcam pages.
So they have that cross promotion.
Yeah, it's just Second Life is just this big hub between like the user and like sex cam girls and like cybering and stuff, and you could like pay other players to cyber with you through like voice chat, and it costs like lindens or whatever the money is, and
the currency,
and everyone has like their fees, and like you go in and it's like here's the menu, and like it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre, and like that's all. You have to remember like there's different sections of Second Life, and there's like the adult sections, and then there's like the G-rated sections, and then there's just like these clubs where people hang out, and there's DJs playing music through Second Life that comes through your speakers, like live people playing music somewhere in the world. So they're actually playing music in this club, and then everyone's avatar is on the dance floor dancing. But then you think about it, and you're like, wow, it's like, so, like, there's somebody sitting at their computer hitting a button that says dance on their avatar, while someone else is sitting at a computer playing music over the internet. So that, so now they feel like they're at this club, but they're really just sitting at home, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of
someone else is browsing through the horrible selection of fake asses that one looks like it has some horrible disease and needs to go see the doctor for.
So you have an avatar, but you have to buy. So basically, Second Life.
You need to buy asses?
Well, so because you go to some of these sex clubs or these clubs or whatever, and people, like, your avatar isn't naked, So you actually have to buy a naked skin for yourself to go in and be naked for the most part. So you have to go and find, okay, let me find like a link. Let me find like a good naked body for myself. So you go into this store, and it's like this. It's almost like this futuristic dystopia, like Gattaca sort of thing. It's like I need a better dick, and I'm gonna go and pay money for a better dick for my avatar.
This whole thing sounds like Rapture from BioShock. You said it was like the perfect libertarian society. It's all sectioned off from the rest of the world. This is how Rapture started, and we all know how that turned out.
It's very much like that, And then I went into one room where there was like these people on stripper poles, and they're talking. You can hear people talking, like over their voice, like over the thing.
There's voice chat.
There's voice chat. And it's weird. And there was this old guy, and he sounded like this old Jewish guy. He almost sounded like Mel Brooks. He's like, oh, look at this! I'm in this place here. And his avatar was an old man in a wheelchair, an electronic wheelchair, and he was rolling around the strip club talking. Oh, look at these girls here! I can't do an old Jewish accent right now, but he's like, oh, look, hey, it was so weird, And like they all knew each other, you know what I mean?
And
then
like a community, internet community. Can you throw Lindens at the strippers?
No, you can't, because everything is shit. Everything in this game is shit. Moving around is shit. The graphics is shit. Everything is shit. You know, it's like, it's not easy to do anything in this game. And then I went into this other club, and there was a woman dancing, and she was naked on top and locomotive on the bottom. I'm not shitting you. I'm not shitting you.
What?
She was a naked woman from the waist up, but it was like a naked woman on top, and her body, the waist down, was a choo-chooing locomotive.
So it's like a centaur, but with a half train.
Yes. Yeah, like a foamer's wet dream.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask. Is that the Foamer Club?
It wasn't a foamer club, but it was, you know, someone's asking if I broadcasted Second Life. I wouldn't be able to.
No, you'd get
we'd be banned
immediately.
Banned, unless I stuck to like G places, you know. But it was just so strange. And I mean, basically Second Life is just this giant chat room with rudimentary graphics and really just, it's a money-making machine. Because like I said, it's free, but for you to almost like do anything, you have to pay money for. Like, oh, I want a new hat. It's like someone is making it and selling it, you know? So
yeah, I remember that when they first introduced Second Life, they were talking about it being like the whole... It was basically, they wrote it off like a... Oh my god, what's that book? It's the Samurai Pizza guy. Futuristic.
Oh, you're talking about
Neil Stephenson's
The Thin Red Line.
He wrote Diamond Age.
You're talking about
Jesus Christ, what am I? It's over here.
Gone with the Wind.
No.
Not Gone with the Wind? Hell's Angels.
Help me out.
Hell's Angels.
Snow Crash.
Oh, Snow Crash. Right.
Yeah. So there was a whole big push for people. They were like, oh, you know, we're gonna have these companies that are gonna go in here. They're gonna have these set up these buy property, because you have to spend real money in order to buy property, rent it, and from the it's like renting a place and server.
Same thing in Second Life.
Yeah, well, that's actually what I'm talking about. Second Life is that they were saying like, oh, all these companies are going to come in and they're going to actually rent these areas in Second Life, and they're going to advertise there. There's going to be huge Coca-Cola buildings, and like people are going to be running around Second Life, and it's going to be this huge thriving economy. And now it's just this kind of
It's the bottom of the barrel. It's the worst of the worst of the worst. And
well, basically it's like what most internet like IRC and whatnot dissolves to is other. It's if you can't trade things legally, then it's usually just fractured or small sub communities of people. Usually it's sexually related. Yeah. Because it's just people trying to socialize in that kind of context, and it's. Yeah, I remember 10 years ago when they were just really going nuts over this thing, and they were saying, this is the next big thing.
I remember.
It's going to be doing this thing.
People were opening companies to make stuff for Second Life.
Yeah.
And it's like, all you really needed to do was make a dick. That's it. Just make
or
dick.
a big fake ass.
And then you go into like this one room, and like there's like these... and all the animations are really shitty. The whole thing is shitty. It's so shitty. It almost has like this uncanny valley bizarreness to it. So you go into like this brothel, quote unquote, and there's 3 strippers on the poles, and they're all like, you know, I'm doing like they're trying to like do their weird like stripper dance type of thing, which is just awful, just like this, and then guys, and I'm watching this happening. Guys are in there and they're tipping the strippers, and then the strippers are thanking them like over voice chat. So you're looking at like this weird like model, and then over the sound is like, oh, thank you, I really appreciate that tip, Striker 3. And it's like, oh my god, this is so bizarre. And they're tipping. These men are tipping fake women. They're tipping. It's bad enough. It's bad enough going to a strip club and giving money to a woman who will never look at you or think about you again because males are stupid and they think that's going to get them laid somehow. But these are men tipping fake women over the internet that are fake, and like they're avatars. They're not even real, and they're giving them money. And they're like, Thank you, Big Bob 75. I give you a big kiss. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like if I watch this much longer, I'm going to have to blow my fucking brains out because all of my hope for the human race will be gone forever.
This is the thing about the internet. The thing about the internet is that about 40% of it is wonderful. It's, revolutionized our generation and how we access information. Wonderful, incredible thing. And then 60% of it, the other 60%, it makes you want to commit suicide. And there's very little. Little middle ground. It's either completely unbearably revulsive, or it's actually wow, what would I do without this sort of thing?
Right. And it's very bizarre. And I mean, there are, I guess, they're communities, and I understand the whole idea of having internet community. Man, our 4-player is kind of based upon that sort of thing. And I've had internet communities that I've been involved with in forums, that I've have people that I've known for 10 years, but I've never met, and you do feel a kinship with these people. So I understand that it probably has there's very much something to do with that in Second Life, and I can understand how that can happen. But then there's a line, and that line comes when you're replacing that entire thing. It's like these men who are tipping these weirdly animated, badly articulated models at this fake strip club on the internet in Second Life. It's like, as bad as it is, I almost wish they would just go to a real strip club, because at least then they're having some real human, interaction. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe the issue is that they don't want that real interaction, And there's whole malls. It's like, dicks are us, and look at all the asses you can buy for yourself. And it's like, that ass isn't prolapsed enough. I need an ass which is surely more prolapsed than the one I have. I'm going to
animated asses?
No, I don't think you can do. I don't think you can do. Hold on.
They have a Black Friday, but it's only it's their sales are only specific races.
Yes. See, Black Friday sale. I was in there. I was like, I almost want to I almost want to get a hacker involved. And I want to go into one of these sex clubs and stand in the middle of the dance floor in Second Life, and all of a sudden, my dick appears, and then it starts growing, and it's growing and growing and growing until it fills up the entire club, and then fills up the entire area, and then growing until it fills up the entire second world and blots out the second sun. And the admin are trying to kick me from the servers, but it won't work because the hacker friend made me immune, and my giant dick just destroys Second Life. All of Second Life destroyed by my growing, enveloping cock, like the nothing from Neverending Story. That's what that's what I kind of want to happen.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that a lot. That would be a fitting end. And believe me, I have nothing against sex clubs at all. But real ones are okay. It's these fake ones that I just don't get. And then it's and then there's one where in the club, and it was sit down and watch this fake stripper, this animated stripper, do her thing. And I sit down and I'm like, okay, well, what is the point of this? And then I spin the camera around, and my avatar's jerking off, and I didn't even want to do that. Automatically, when I sat down in this chair, my avatar started jerking off.
Jerk-off chair.
It was like a jerk-off chair. It was like, oh god! And I was like, I didn't want to do that.
You just imagine those strippers, they're up on the stage, their point of view is anybody that sits in the chair, it's just gonna be a sea of people jerking off around.
Jerking off. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Oh man! So
this is the future.
I guess this is the future. I guess so. I put, if you guys want to see, I put pictures of some of my experiences in Second Life on my Twitter. My Twitter is the Joseph Christ, and you can check it out if someone wants to put either my Twitter or even just links to the pictures in my Twitter up there. You can check those out. But yeah, I don't know. It is strange. It takes the sense of, it takes the idea of internet community a little too far, but it's also hilarious at the same time. And I found myself, I kept on going back because I was like, I want to see what else they have, what other crazy shit, like half locomotive ladies.
I've heard of someone wrote an article. I can't remember where I read it. It was in the last 2 years where someone went back into Second Life, pretty much after the many years after launch to figure out what's going on, because they had such huge hopes for this game. Mm-hmm. It was virtual reality. I don't really even know if you can call it a game. And they went back into the game to figure out what's going on, and it's deserted. Like, no one's around, and
it's pretty empty.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a ghost town. And they ended up finding a meeting, and they ended up going to like an AA meeting for people who are addicted to sex in Second Life or something like that.
But it was taking place in Second Life?
In Second Life, right. So they ended up like meeting another person there, and like, hey, what is this? Like, why? Where is everybody? And like, they're on doing quests or something like that. And they're like, well, what's a quest? And they decide to leave the meeting to go on to this whole sexual escapade quest,
right? From
the sexual AA meeting for Second Life. And apparently, you spend, if I remember this correctly, you spend money to start a quest. And it's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
from what I remember. And you go to different areas, and there's different like kind of weird sex things that go on in these different areas. It's bizarre. Like from what I read, I didn't understand any of it at all.
I have to say again, like there's nothing really real life sex that I think is weird. I'm kind of weird like that. But like it's the fact that it's like not real. It's like being addicted to fake sex. Like it's like, so you like jerking off. Like, what's the real benefit there? I understand a sexual addiction, but not addicted to fake sex.
I've just been thinking about the games that try to implement interactive sex. And the two examples I've come up with are Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain. I remember Indigo Prophecy, there was a bit where you're like shagging your ex-wife or something, and you have to like push the stick forward 3 times just in this little pre-can. I'm not sure what happens if you fail it. Does he...
he comes immediately.
Does he shoot off too early?
He shoots off right away. Well, see, the thing is, though, in Second Life, it's not even that interactive. You're literally, like, you click on... So usually what they have is... They have an area, and it'll be like anything from like a bed or refrigerator or whatever, you know. And there's 2 balls, and one says his and one says hers. And you click on it and you hit touch, and it makes your avatar go to that location in a certain position and then do the movements. And the other person does the same thing. So you're not even like, it's not even like you're moving your mouse back and forth to like go in and out of somebody. It's like you're basically clicking on a button that makes your avatar do the sex. And then while you're doing that, I guess you're supposed to cyber or something. But that's the level at what we're talking about here. It's so remedial. It's not anywhere near sexy. Like it couldn't even be even partially sexy because it's so bizarre looking. And then of course there's the Uncanny Valley version of it. You know, the aspect of it. You know, that's just very bizarre.
I really like the one in Heavy Rain where there's the fiddly little QuickTime event to undo the woman's bra. I thought that was a fantastic little touch.
I forgot about that.
Did you fail that one the first try?
I usually do.
Oh yeah, you know, like in real life.
Yeah, we usually do. So that was my experience in Second Life. I almost, you know, like I said, there's other areas you can go into, but it's sort of like, why would I? They seem like they'd be very dull compared to this shit I've seen, you know, in other areas. So, when
you've seen an old Jewish man driving around in a mechanical wheelchair in a strip club, it's
and it wasn't like he was like the outsider either. They all knew him. They like were all like having a grand old time with each other.
Yeah,
like he was part of the community, and that's okay. Like I said, I understand the idea of internet community, but it's, I don't know. I guess when you don't have much going on in your life, you know, and that's it's either be part of this strange internet community where at least I have, you know, people to talk to at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, you know, or just sit at home alone. Like that seems like the better option, you know. Like, okay, if that's where you're at in your life, okay, then who am I to say that that's, you know, you're a bad person or something? But I can say it's a little bizarre. But, you know, and there's a lot of drinking going on in Second Life. A lot of people in Second Life are drunk. A lot.
They're drunk in real life, or they're drinking in game?
No, I didn't see any. They're drunk in real life, talking over voice chat. Like there was this girl who kept on talking about people peeing on her and hiccuping drunkenly. And she was British. She's like, I just want people to pee on me. I can't. Or just want people to pee on me. Please, somebody could. If somebody could pee on me. That's a.
They sound like Dobby from Harry Potter. Horrible.
And that's, I mean, that was early in the night. That was one of my first rooms I went into, and I was like, well, this is what I'm doing tonight. Oh man,
is that your best British accent?
Like I said, everything I've known from about Britain, I learned from Monty Python. So lucky I didn't make or talk like this. So, but yeah, so that was Second Life. Will I go back? I probably will. Just to kind of.
It's a train wreck.
It's a train wreck, and some of them are literally half trains.
Exactly. Oh god. Have you spent any money on your character yet?
No.
You're not getting a large penis or a special rectum.
Well, they have. They have certain areas where there's free stuff for, like, they call them the newbie areas, because they have like the basic avatars, which are all kind of shitty, and you can go get like new faces and new clothes and stuff. But of course, all this sex stuff is going to be. None of that's going to be free, because if anything, people will pay. If there's anything in the world someone will pay for, it's sex. So we don't want to give that shit away, But maybe I should. Maybe I should spend like $5-10 and just make the most ridiculous avatar I can. Like a big old like 6-foot white guy with a giant black dick that plays like Johnny Got His Gun or something when you. Or like plays music.
Or maybe you should just, try to crash the sex economy by just trying to offer it out for free.
Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. You're onto something. We make like a few sex items, right? And then just give them away for free. Undercut everybody. And completely destroy the Second Life sex economy.
The sex economy?
The sex economy.
Yeah.
I think we can do that. Our asses are free. We'll pay you to buy our prolapsed asses.
Oh, God.
2 regular asses with every prolapsed asses. That's a deal you can't pass up. And one of the asses it looked like it had gone through a whole hockey team.
They're awful. It's terrible to really, like, you look into the abyss, and the abyss stares back at you.
That's true.
It's awful.
Oh man! And for people who, people are familiar with Second Life, but the best example I can give is imagine a PlayStation Home, but really shitty, and then with really bizarre sex stuff, and that's basically what it is. If Second Life looked like Home, it would be a 10 times improvement. So,
yeah, have you ever been in PlayStation Home?
Oh yeah, a few times.
It's bizarre.
I remember what I think was it Travis or somebody, maybe David. He used to make. He had 2 avatars, and one would be like this sexy little girl or woman, girl, whatever thing, and he would go into the main plaza and start dancing, and then when all these men were around him dancing, he would immediately switch his avatar to a big fat naked guy. Because you could switch on the fly like that, and that was always fun. But yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Just watch them scatter.
Just watch them. Yeah, they pretty much scatter really fast.
That's a dirty bomb.
God, Second Life, man, it's so bizarre. It's so strange.
Have we talked about Dirty Bomb yet?
No, what's Dirty Bomb?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Dirty Bomb? Yeah, it's Dirty Bomb.
What are you talking about?
Brink.
Oh, Dirty Bomb!
I wrote a piece about that earlier this week.
So here's the thing. We were kind of segueing into news for the last bit of our show here, but the developers of Brink have come out with a new first-person shooter called Dirty Bomb. And maybe it's just me, but if the last game you came out with is Brink, you should probably not have the word bomb anywhere near the name of your new game. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I think I found your review for Brink.
Did you find my review for Brink? My exhaustive,
Yeah, I'll link that in chat.
My exhaustive review of Brink.
Oh, it's very exhaustive. It's going to take a full 10 seconds for people to take this in.
It exhausted me. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It certainly exhausted me. But yeah, there it is. You can check that out. But go ahead.
The thing is, though, that Brink could at least have an interesting art style, and it wasn't that great, but, you know, I still remember it. But this new game, Dirty Bomb, looks just, like, generic as fuck. It's just, I can't think of a more generic trailer you could have come up with to advertise a multiplayer shooter, of which there are already more than enough on the market. Right. So you have to do something that's going to stand out, and this is like... I don't know why anyone would be even remotely interested in this. It's just...
I don't think... I mean, unless we see something very different, I think people will be. And you're right. I mean, in Brink, the only thing really going for it was the art style. And that's kind of what pulled people in. Like, not only the art style, but like, oh, look, you can buy all this stuff for your avatar, and you can have, you know, different chins. There was a lot of chins. So Brink was big on chins. Lots of chins. But, I mean, all that kind of stuff. But it's like the gameplay was god-awful. It was just, it was really bad. It was really bad. But now they have a new one out. I'll play it. I don't know if I told you guys, but I don't know, Bob knows, but over my my gaming setup in my living room, I have 2 posters of Brink on either side. And they're there for a specific reason. It's so that when I'm reviewing a game and I think it's really bad, I look at those posters of Brink and I say to myself, is it as bad as Brink? Let's keep things in perspective. Is it as bad as Brink? I should put a poster of Comic Jumper up there as well, but I think that would just put me in a lousy mood every time I fucking saw it.
You would hate video games at that point. You would never want to play video games again.
Yeah, I would never want to play video games.
That sounds like a really good idea. I should put a poster of Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
Chris Davis is going to hate you.
Well, that's too bad.
I thought I didn't mind Space Marine. I thought it was a little long-winded. I'll put it that way. But why didn't you like Space Marine? We might have talked about this before.
It was boring. It was the most bored I've ever been playing a video game.
It was too long. It needed to be half as long. If it was half as long, you would have enjoyed it a lot more.
No, I don't think so. I only played half of it. I only played half the game, and I still thought it was one of the most... I mean, even if it's not like technically the worst game ever made, it's hands down the most bored I've ever been playing a video game. And it has that really, really counterintuitive health system as well, where to regain health, you have to like chainsaw orcs. You basically got to go right up to them and do a melee attack, which is the last thing you want to do when you're about to die. So,
yeah, but there's no cover in that game. The whole point is to be in the middle of everything and manage. I know where you're coming from, though. I know where you're coming from. And
it all took place in these really horrible grey-brown corridors.
Yeah, well, that's Warhammer 40k, though.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing is just about desolate and destroyed, and the universe has been at war for hundreds of years. All we know is war. So, I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, by 10 o'clock, you guys have anything else you wanted to bring on up before we put this one to bed?
I watched the Far Cry 3 reveal trailer.
Was it that long 10-minute one?
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of interesting because up until that point, I was under the impression that Far Cry 3 was going to be a kind of like quasi-psychological, survival game where you'd been kidnapped on this island and there were these maniacs running around. It was about trying to get off the island. And then this new trailer comes out and makes it look like one great big frat party. Like, have a drink and play poker and sleep with the ladies and, It's all kind of macho, like, skin the animals and sell the pelts for big guns. And it's like, I'm not sure what that game's trying to be anymore. Is it trying to be like Red Dead Redemption, or is it trying to be like Far Cry 2? Or
I think it's a combination of both, actually. I think it's like Far Cry 2, Red Dead Redemption, mixed with some like Skyrim stuff. There's a lot of different aspects to it. But yeah, because I understand what you're saying. 'Cause a lot of the stuff we saw from the initial views of Far Cry 3 was the Dr. Einberg stuff with the hallucinogenics and him going through the cave and all that. And I think that's still a big aspect of the game. But it's not until recently that we're seeing more of like him and his friends and the poker playing. And I think it's much more. I think for it to be a game like you thought it would have to be a much more linear experience. I think it's much more of like an open world. Like one thing I've noticed. And there's a lot of people doing playthroughs in Europe and stuff like that, and people who are doing a lot of stuff, and like in a lot of streams, like in the corner it says "Speak to Dr. Ehrenberg" or whatever his name is, and it's because people are just saying, "Well, fuck the story. I'm just gonna go on this island and explore and have fun." You know, so everyone is like doing like the first like couple of main missions, and that's it, and then just going and having fun around the island, and going up radio towers and exploring and opening up more of the map, and I think that's kind of more of the type of game it is, which I'm kind of excited about, because actually I was, as much as I think sort of a survival psychological type of thing that would have been fun, I was afraid that it might be too much of a linear experience. I kind of wanted to get on a jet ski and just go and fight sharks for hours, So, but I think in the story aspects, the story modes or story aspects of the game, I think those things still exist. So I think it's kind of both. Yeah. But what do you prefer? Do you want more of that?
I think I can get behind it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be a very sort of narrative-driven experience, and I was really looking forward to the. Is it what's the name of the guy? Voss. That's it. Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing a lot of him, and it being kind of like. Heart of Darkness and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it is if you choose it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's kind of interesting. Because if you've ever seen like Apocalypse Now or read Joseph Conrad's A Heart of Darkness, the whole thing is about this guy who goes into the jungle and then basically manipulates all the natives and becomes this insane, power-hungry megalomaniac. Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, with this new trailer, I thought it might be interesting if it was like, yeah, you can do all this stuff and get all the power and all the guns, and then at some point someone just sort of visits you on the island and said, you've gone insane, your methods are unsound,
right.
So you get dragged away in a screaming wreck or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just your hedonism gets the better of you. But
right.
I seriously doubt that's where they're going with that, unfortunately.
Right. No, yeah, I don't think it's quite like that. I'd like to make notice real quick though of Bob at the moment. He's got, look at him. He looks like he's like in this sex lounge. He's got the red light behind him.
Welcome to my lounge.
You should undo some of those buttons and then like really just like drive the. Oh, look at that! Look at that!
It's like a onesie. No, very.
I was going to say actually, he looks a bit more like Pan or something with the headphones and the red light. And
yeah.
Like he's risen from hell.
Like he has hooves, underneath that desk of his. Oh man! Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, wait, no, do it again. But one pinky. You got to put one pinky up. Always raise one pinky. That's like a classy motherfucker. There you go. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, I think I'm spent for the evening. How about you guys? You all good? All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming out and watching. This has been Cocktail Time live over 4Player Network. Please subscribe. Subscribing helps us out a whole lot, and what we do here costs money, and your subscriptions really helps us to keep on doing what we do. Be like the cool people like Self Torment and Reborn Revolution and Liz6005 and all the good people who support us here at 4Player.
I just stripped, so I'm expecting a tip.
Yeah, so Bob obviously needs a new shirt, and he needs buttons for his shirt.
Yeah.
So he could definitely use it. And make sure you guys check out Rise of the Triad. Thanks to Dave Oshry for coming out tonight and talking with us. And we'll definitely be seeing more coverage of that game on the site. But stick around. Brad will be taking over next, playing some stuff, some sweet video games over at 4Player Network. Everybody.